Good morning.
Morning.
How are we feeling today, Carla?
Good.
What are we doing?
Running.
We are running all day today. It's the Canyons 100K.
Until sunset.
And hopefully not past it. Hopefully we'll both be done by sunset. It's just shy of 5 in the morning, 4:30 a.m. And we are both about as rested as we'll ever be. There's a smile. That's what we like to see. How about you say we go have some fun?
Let's go.
Let's run.
I belong to you. Do just what you want. You're the one I trust.
Hey, Canyons 100K. Where to start? Went into the race and my goal was to just finish, just to get to the end of the race and have a good run. I'd come onto the trail after doing a marathon block, which I needed to do to get my qualifying time for Comrades, which is my A goal this race later in the year. That is in August. So came off a marathon block, had 7 weeks to train for this race, and training had gone really well, like a couple of tough runs, but the whole way through I felt strong. 90% of my runs were great. Had a really good time being out here in Santa Barbara in the sunshine training on them. And I guess as the training progressed, I started to feel stronger and stronger, and then started to kind of think in the back of my head, oh, maybe it's not just a finishing race, maybe I actually can compete with some of these girls. Yeah. I was quickly put back into my box within about the first 10k of the race when I realised that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it's hard when you're competitive, coming into a competitive environment where you're not as good as the other girls, but you still want to be. It's really hard for me, especially mentally, having that shift in mindset and just being out there and enjoying the day. And yeah, it's something I still haven't got right and something I still want to perfect, but that's for another day. Anyway, beginning of the course, quite fast, first couple of K on the road, hopped on the trail, cruising along there. Once we got onto the trail, I was like, I'm just going to settle down into a nice rhythm, and my goal then was to get to Forest Hill, which is at about 53k, feeling strong, which I did. I was running up the road, on the road clearly, so then I could run towards Forest Hill, and they're like, oh, we think this is the first 50k woman. I was like, absolutely not. No. I'm in the 100k race. But I think they thought that I looked pretty strong, which I did, because I was running on the road, which I can do and I feel really comfortable in. I found as soon as I got to any bits on the road, there was probably 3k of the race on the road in total, but I could then put some power down and turn my legs over nice and quickly. So got to Forest Hill. I did feel really good there. Changed my shoes, changed my water bottles over, got some more gels, and carried on, and actually felt all right all the way down to the river crossing, which was mental, proper river crossing with the rope. And I'm starting to so you're in the river, probably about, was it waist height? Probably on me, because I'm quite small. It was quite high anyway, so we're trying to cross this river holding on to this rope. And then some dude gets on the rope at the other end, and I'm like, can you just let me get across? This river is raging. And he pulls the rope, so then I'm swinging on the rope, and I'm like, mate, you don't need to be in such a hurry. You're with me in the middle of the pack. You're not going to win this thing. Anyway, he finally backed off and let me cross, got to the other side, and then we started this climb up to a place called Devil's Thumb, which is up to Michigan Bluff. So up to Michigan Bluff, through the river, climbed up through that, and that's when I was like, oh, not feeling too peaky. Settled in with a couple of other runners, and we'd kind of overtake each other. On the more runnable bits, I would go in front, and then they'd come past me on the hiking bits, which annoyingly, it just annoyed me, because I just can't understand why I can't walk up the hills as quickly as other people. I'm walking as hard and as fast as I can, and I'm not joking. Everyone else is going past me at double the speed. It's like almost embarrassing, but I'll try and figure out why that happens at a later stage. But anyway, they would overtake me on the up bits. I would then overtake them on the down the flats, and we kind of carried on through there. Yeah, I was feeling a little bit ropey. Was kind of didn't want to take on any gels at that point, so started to sip on my carb drink. And then we got to Michigan Bluff, came in there, felt really good, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is it. Gonna leave the aid station. We've got a really nice downhill, so thought I could make up some time. And then the energy was just going. I was like, oh, at this point we're about 5 hours into the race. Marathon's ticked off, we're over halfway, and yeah, that's when it starts to hit. And what's funny is, like, that's probably the point that I'd got to in all my training runs. I'd got to this amount of training and I'd felt good, and I guess this was just going over the other side, tipping the seesaw, I guess, and I just couldn't quite carry on at that pace. We then started to climb up towards Deadwood and Devil's Thumb. Yeah, Deadwood, the place where dreams go to die, I think they should call it. So we're climbing to Deadwood, and this climb is savage. It's just, at this point, I'm like, I am over it. Everyone's overtaking me. It's getting annoying. I've got nothing in my legs. I could run up hills like this in training, and all of a sudden I could no longer run up this hill, and energy was just sapping through me. You get to this point at the top of the climb where you go up to the aid station. You then do a loop through the forest, and then they make you go back to the aid station and then come back to make your way to the finish, which is just really annoying because it's like a little dog leg. It's only about 300 meters, but at that point you're just like, do I really have to go back to the aid station? But yes, you do. And actually I'm glad I did, because I went and got my gloves, which I didn't have on me anymore, so I went and got another set, and that was a very good decision because it got really cold when we got up to upper next climb into the snowy fields. So yeah, came back from the aid station, and everyone was like, yeah, you're looking really strong. I'm like, yeah, I'm loving this downhill. Shouted that to the guys taking our numbers, and they're like, oh, well, don't, it only lasts another mile. I was like, oh, way to crush my soul. So that was a bit depressing. So I was expecting this really nice long downhill, and even if it was just a mile, they didn't have to tell me that, but I was like, oh, okay, it's only a mile. And then we had, from the bottom of that downhill, a 10-mile climb to the finish. Savage is all I could say. Again, just going up, nothing in me. Everyone's starting to come past me, and to be honest, I think my head had completely gone at this point, just because I was way off the pace of where I thought that I would be. So yeah, I lost my head. I was like, oh, do you know what, I was just over it. You know, you just can't be bothered anymore. And I know that's really bad and like not a great attitude to have at this point when you're in a race, but I guess I had to keep thinking back and thinking, right, Carla, like, your goal was to finish, and like I really wanted to finish in daylight, so I was like, let's just stick with that. Like, just don't worry about it. Like, you're not going to win, you're not going to get a golden ticket. So a golden ticket is for Western States. There was 3 spots up for grabs at this race, and I naively thought that I might be able to get one. Yeah, back in my box. I am not that good at uphill trail runs. And yeah, definitely got schooled in that. Yeah, these girls, they are something else. I was looking at my watch at one point, at the 10-hour point. I was like, this is what time Beth finished last year, and subsequently what time the winner finished in yesterday, and I still had 20k to go. That's how far behind I was. So yeah, that was a bit of a humbling experience. But anyway, eventually started to see the blue pillars, the Hoka pillars, and I was like, okay, that must mean that the finish is near, and it was. So last little bit, which I thought might be a bit more runnable, no, ice, snow, water puddles. You're just slipping and sliding everywhere. It's just absolutely minging. And yeah, made it to the finish line, crossed the finish line, said I wasn't going to cry, obviously did cry, and then got given this very handy belt. Wait there. I need to show you this belt. So this is what you get for finishing canyons. A belt. There's a fundamental part missing, the buckle. And I said to them at the end, I was like, I don't know if this is a silly question, but is it not going to come with a buckle? They're like, no, you've got to earn a buckle. I'm like, how do you earn a buckle? Oh, you come back next year and do the 100-miler. Firstly, no. Secondly, brilliant. So I've got an unusable belt and I have to do a 100-miler to get a buckle for it, which there was lots of points. I'd always thought I wanted to do Western States, and do you know what? I probably will still enter the lottery, but yeah, there was lots of points yesterday where I was like, I do not want to do Western States. This race is going to be disgusting, mainly because we were on the course. We were going in the opposite direction, but yeah, the savagery of canyons put me off running that far on that course again. But do you know what? Runners are a bunch of liars, and I'll probably change my mind in about 2 days and want to do another 100k trail race. Yeah, there it is. Race was brutal, but I will say that the organisation was incredible. Like, the route markings were so good. Couldn't get lost. Didn't need to look at my watch, my GPX file. Knew where I was going the whole way, and I was pretty much running on my own, I would say, for 80% of the race. The aid stations are amazing. Everyone at them was super friendly, although they were also liars when they're like, you look great. I'm like, do I? Because I am dying inside, but I think they're just trying to make you feel better. We were talking at breakfast yesterday, saying, I think it would almost be better if people had signs saying, you look shit. And you're like, yeah, thank you. Because it'd probably make you laugh, and because you know it's true that you do look and feel a little bit rubbish. Yeah, I also had some wild thoughts in this race. So the main ones that I remember was running along just after the river crossing, actually, and I was like, I think if I get around this corner, imagine if I saw a bear and then the bear chased me and I ran up a tree, and then I've got to wait in the tree until someone else finds me, and then they need to go and get help to get rid of the bear, and then at that point the race will be over and then I can stop. Second thought, there was a gun range nearby and you could hear all these shots going off, and I'm like, imagine if one of those ricocheted off a tree and then just scraped my shoulder, then I could stop. I mean, obviously we can stop at any time, but we have these crazy justifications of needing a reason to end the pain. So I didn't see a bear and I didn't get shot by a gun. Which is good. But at the end, oh God. So Alex and I drove together to the start. We left Alex's car there. Got to the finish and I saw that Alex was going to be a few more hours than me, so I decided to go back home. But when I got off the bus at the other end, I had no means of transportation to get home. So from where the bus dropped us off, I had to walk 4 kilometres back to our accommodation, and I was like, why is no one offering me a lift? And then I realised that I probably did look homeless because I was covered in mud, had about 4 bags on me with all my drop bags all over the shop, and was really, yeah, sweaty and cold. So yeah, that was really fun walking home, although to be fair, my legs are actually fine, and I think the walk probably did them some good by just loosening them up a little bit after the race. In summary, it was a great day for most of it, even though at the time you hate it, but it's that type 2 fun. It's never fun at the time, it's just always fun when you finish afterwards. And actually the next day, Alex and I went and had a coffee and met some other guys at the coffee shop, and we're all like bouncing our stories back and forth. And that's when it's fun, when you realise that no matter where you are in the race, everyone's going through similar battles as you, and ultimately we're all paying for the pleasure of getting our legs smashed up in the woods. But I would say really well organised race. Definitely having, the UTMB on board this year has upped the game of the race. Definitely a difference from last year to this year, which is really cool to see. And yeah, it was a good day. It was a tough day. I did achieve my goal of just getting to that finish line. I got there before dark, and I think I need to remember that. I think also I had a good chat with my brother where he was like, well, you only get a few like amazing races a year, and did you want this to be your amazing race? And I was like, actually no, I don't. I really want Comrades to be my amazing race in August. So I am hoping that is what will happen. Comrades will be the amazing race, and then I will take up some form of ironmongery to figure out how to make a buckle, because the thought of running 100 miles, it's not that appealing at the moment. Okay, I am going to take you through my canyons overview on Strava. So this is why I named it. Clearly I was a little bit emotional after the race. I still think I am in the never again camp, but I think I also might be persuaded. We shall see. Final totals. So total distance for the run, I was very glad that didn't tick all the way to 100k in the race. 13 hours, 47 minutes and 4 seconds with an average pace of 8:21 per k. I was hoping that would be in the 6:30s, so way off there. Total elevation, 4,518 meters. Shoes, I actually wore the Tecton X for the first half, and then I changed into the Speedgoat 5s because I knew that when we got into the snowy, muddy bit, it was going to be horrific, and I think that was a pretty good decision. Calling bullshit on this, I've never run a sub 4 minute mile in my life. I think Garmin must have been on drugs for a while there. And then here, all of the laps, loads and loads of them, which is pretty cool. Started off nice and quick because it was on a road, my fave, and then got progressively slower as the race went on. We started in Auburn and then basically spent the day going uphill until we got to China Wall up here, and you can see from this graph, it's pretty cool how it was net uphill, a few little downhills in there along the way, but yeah, pretty much an uphill slog all day. I think this is where I really began to suffer in the race. So got to 70k all right, and then yeah, that last 30 was a tad emotional, but yeah, pretty cool to see it on a graph, and yeah, I think that this graph here sums up quite nicely why the day was so tough.